Welcome back, friends. Today I'm breaking down The Greatest Estate Developer. The chapter opens with a flash forward. A brown-haired guy in a vest and white shirt is marching across green hills, carrying a banner with a family crest. Beside him is a silver-haired knight in a sharp navy uniform. And trailing behind them are these adorable little animal companions. A pig, a duck, a round white blob creature, all hyped up and cheering. The guy introduces himself. His name is Kim Suho, but here, in this world, he goes by Lloyd Frontera. And to put it simply, he drives that shovel into the earth. And the ground lights up with a massive holographic engineering grid stretching out in every direction. Rising into towering blueprint structures, he calls himself an ordinary, run-of-the-mill civil engineer with a story that'll completely change the world. He calls out to the silver-haired knight Habil, who responds with a calm, "Yes, Sir Lloyd." And then Lloyd shouts that all of this, everything around them, will be money. Habil just stares at him. Have you finally gone insane? Now we rewind. Some years ago, flashes across the screen, and a blue system notification panel appears in front of someone lying face down in the dirt. It reads, "Your wish has been randomly selected and granted by the Supreme Being," followed by a cheerful congrats and clap, clap, clap. The guy on the ground? That's Kim Suho before he became Lloyd. He's confused, disoriented, staring at this floating blue panel. Another notification tells him he'll take the appearance of a fictional character in a novel called Iron-Blooded Engineer. Recognizes it. That's the novel he was reading last night. He starts panicking. He hasn't been drinking. Everything feels way too real. The dirt under his hands is cold, the air bites, and then it hits him. This is a reincarnation scenario. Like those webtoons he's read 100 times. He's actually been dropped into another world, but there's a problem. A big one. He wakes up lying face down on a dirt road in the middle of the night. Freezing cold, with a system notification popping up in angry red. Condition anomaly. Your lips have fallen asleep due to sleeping on the street. He swipes at it, annoyed, and then another panel appears, telling him Habil is in a good mood. He snaps back, "I know, I can see that." "Shut up, will you?" Then a voice cuts through the darkness. "Sir Lloyd, you're here. I have been looking for you." Suho turns, and standing there in the moonlight is a silver-haired young man in a navy blue uniform with a sword at his hip. He's identical to the novel's illustration. It's the main character of Iron-Blooded Engineer Habil Azudurhan. A text box confirms it. He eventually becomes famous across the entire continent as a legendary swordsman, but right now, it's just a regular knight serving in the town of Arcos. Frontera, and he just called Suho. Lloyd? That's when it clicks. A baronet from Frontera was named, and Suho screams it out loud. "I'm supposed to be Lloyd Frontera the Lout." Habil just blinks. "I called you by your name, but I never said you were a lout." Then he smirks. "Well, I'm glad you're aware of it." Habil takes him back to the Frontera mansion and explains what happened. The original Lloyd had been drinking during the day, smashed up furniture in a tavern, and collapsed on the road on his way home. The Lord Lloyd's father had sent Habil out of worry. Habil's commentary is brutal, as expected from the life of an asshole. Back in the mansion, Suho, now fully living as Lloyd, wraps himself in a blanket, shivering on the cold stone floor. He confirms with Habil that the house is drowning in debt. Habil is surprised Lloyd even knows the word debt. Once Habil leaves, slamming the door behind him, Suho sits alone and puts it all together. He knows everything about this novel. He'd been reading the final chapter in his cramped dorm room the night before. So of course he knows Lloyd's fate. And it's horrific. Right at the beginning of the story, the baronet and his wife get swindled by a con man. They lose all their property, all their land, everything. It drives them to take their own lives. And Lloyd? He spirals. He becomes a drunken wreck, screaming for alcohol, trashing taverns, and eventually throws up blood and dies. Suho shoots up from the floor, furious. What's the point of being a baronet if this is the outcome? It's just as miserable as being back in Korea. And what even is a supreme being? Why was his wish to be reincarnated into this fate? So here's where we are. Kim Suho, a regular civil engineer, has been dropped into the body of the biggest loser in a fantasy novel. His parents are about to be scammed out of everything. His character is destined to drink himself to death. And the only advantage he has? He's read the entire story, cover to cover. He knows every plot point, every disaster, every opportunity. The question isn't whether he can survive. It's whether a guy with a shovel and an engineering degree can rewrite the fate of an entire estate before the clock runs out. The chapter kicks off with Lloyd trying to win Javier over. He hits him with a, "I think you're really handsome," classic flattery play, and the system immediately pops up. Lloyd wants to be likable, but Javier, stone cold. "I know it too," he says. And just like that, system notification. Javier's favorable impression has decreased by 1, down to -3.1. Lloyd nearly loses it. Why did it decrease? But he catches himself. He can't afford to act rashly and make things worse. So he shelves the charm offensive and moves on to the real plan. He heads to the local pub. Inside, Lloyd pulls out a contract he's drafted, listing himself as contractor, host, and operator. He's offering to pay for all the damage he's caused by covering the full construction cost. The pub owner just stares at him. The system reads the room. The owner's suspicion can be seen in his eyes. And yeah, because this body's reputation is rock bottom, the guy doesn't trust Lloyd at all. So Lloyd switches tactics. He didn't want to do this, but he leans into his old bum image, gets aggressive, gets in the owner's face. "We always see each other anyway. Why can't you just trust me?" Full intimidation mode. The system even activates a skill mind wall, reading the owner's resistance. But it works. The owner signs the contract, muttering under his breath, "System notification. Whoa, what a trash." Lloyd doesn't care. First contract, successfully obtained. He rolls up the document with a villain grin. Tells the pub owner he'll never regret it. Javier's standing right there, watching all of this, completely silent. Now the real work begins. Lloyd grabs a shovel, heads to an empty lot, and starts marking the ground. He tells himself he'll make it small, so no precise measurements are needed. Javier follows and confronts him. "You threatened the owner and even made him sign a contract. Are you making a new pattern of misconduct?" And here's where Lloyd gets clever. He hits Javier with an actual psychology lesson, asks him about cognitive distortion. "It's the distortion that sticks to your mind through prejudice and negative thinking," Lloyd explains. "Since I've been doing this and that in the past, I will be doing this and that from now on." He flips it on Javier. "Don't both experience and estimation stem from the past?" Javier freezes. Internally, he's shook. Since when did this guy talk this well? Lloyd promises he'll make the pub owner and his mother smile no matter what. And then he slams the shovel into the dirt and gets to work. "Their smile would be the foundation of my money-making." He digs the soil, moves it, beats it hard, and repeats. He uses lumber from the Baron's family warehouse and builds, the frame using a heavy timber structure, a traditional Eastern wooden construction method using heavy wood. Then he applies red clay soil from the riverside for the exterior. But Lloyd's body is a disaster. He collapses flat on the ground, huffing, gasping. This body is physically weak. It took him a full week, and he's completely wrecked. Meanwhile, Javier's been watching the whole process, stunned. That rascal Lloyd Frontera really did it? He really made something. Where did he learn it? Is he really keeping the contract with the owner? I can't believe it. Lloyd pushes through the pain, his whole body aching, no time to rest. He grabs an axe and starts chopping wood for planks, but he can barely swing it. He's shaking, struggling, screaming through every chop. Then Javier steps in. He catches Lloyd's axe mid-swing, takes it from his hands, and asks what dimensions Lloyd needs. 1 hand span horizontally, 2 hands span vertically, as thick as 1 finger, Lloyd says. You can make it into planks. Javier tosses the logs into the air, draws his sword, and in one fluid motion, slices them into perfect planks. Pieces scatter everywhere, landing neatly on the ground. Lloyd's jaw drops, as expected from a son to become swordmaster. It's not that different from modern equipment. Then Lloyd pushes his luck further. He wraps an arm around Javier's shoulder. Javier, can you do all of that and help me dig? Javier's furious. Instead of thanking me, you're asking me to do more. As expected from someone like him. System notification. Javier regrets it. But Lloyd reads Javier perfectly. Aren't you helping just because you're curious? Aren't you thinking, what the heck? This guy's going to cause trouble for sure? He grins. You want to see the result right away, don't you? Then we should finish the work as quickly as possible. He grabs his shovel. Let's do it together. Javier hesitates, but he can't deny it. This person completely changed in just a few days. And despite every instinct telling him not to trust Lloyd, the results are right there in front of him. So he picks up a shovel, and the two of them dig together, side by side in the foundation trench. The lout who everyone gave up on just built his first structure, secured his first contract, and convinced the future greatest swordsman on the continent to dig dirt with him. And this is only the beginning. The Frontera Estate Dining Hall. Long table, candlelight, and the most uncomfortable father-son dinner imaginable. The Baron is at the far end. Lloyd's eating as fast as he can, glancing sideways, already planning his escape route. Internally, he's panicking. I've managed to avoid him until now. But what if he stops me from building? But the Baron cuts right to it. So let's hear it. What is it that you are up to this time? Lloyd plays it cool. Puts on his best rude Lloyd voice. The pub owner ordered an ondel room, so I built him one. But the Baron's already heard everything. He tells Lloyd the other townspeople are placing orders too. And then comes the warning. These people are under their protection. He won't tolerate Lloyd lying to them or tricking them. Lloyd just smirks. I wasn't planning to. No matter what I do, everyone thinks the worst. He tries to leave. If we're finished here, I will take my leave. But the Baron stops him. Asks if this is all because of the family's debt situation. And then he says the words that freeze Lloyd in his tracks. Don't you worry. I can get us out of this trouble soon. So don't get yourself too involved in this. Those words hit like a truck, because Suho has heard them before. A flashback kicks in, black and white panels, his real father back in Korea, cigarette in hand, smiling through the stress. Hey, Suho. It'll all be fine, so don't you worry. Just keep your head down and study hard. And Suho remembers what came after that promise. It wasn't fine. His dad lied. He thinks, I really thought everything would be okay. Liar. I know it's not okay. Standing there in the Frontera dining hall, something clicks. He's not going to let history repeat itself. I'm not going to be miserable again because of stupid money. He turns back to the Baron and says, please don't give up. Because I won't either. Then he walks out. But this time, he's not running. He's calculating. Out in the hallway, 32 style A orders. 57 style B orders. Half the construction money already collected. That time, a few years ago, he wishes he had said those words to his real father. Now he's going to make them count. Here then, two figures come stomping through the estate, without so much as a greeting. Moneylender Meatloaf and Moneylender. Shiloh, the loan sharks the Frontera family owes money to. They blow right past Lloyd, barge into the Baron's office, and start screaming. 5 days have passed since the date we agreed upon. If you continue to drag your feet, we will have no choice but to take action. Shiloh yells about selling off the estate's belongings. The Baron sits there in silence, helpless, but Lloyd's watching from behind the door. And he's grinning. Perfect timing. They're here just in time. That night, Lloyd's sitting in his room. The system shows current RP 36. He thinks about how he earned it from raising Javier's approval rating, wonders how to use it. Right on cue, the system pings. You can invest your RP on gaining abilities. He calls it a pop-up punk that finally knows how to explain things. Then the system starts loading, clicking, and worry, and a blue circle erupts under his feet. The system is scanning his knowledge. One after another, the panels fire off. Skill detected, soil mechanics, hydraulics, structural mechanics, water supply and sewage theory, steel structure design and concrete design. Advanced design programming, every subject Suho crammed for in college. The system is reading all of it. And at the end, a new skill unlocks. Basic design. He can draw holographic blueprints in the air with his hands. He's ecstatic. Before this, I worked my butt off scribbling down the plans for the channels. But he's already thinking ahead. Things will be easier now, but will Javier alone be enough for all the construction work? He imagines summoning heavy machinery, an excavator materializing in a glowing circle. Then the system drops something new, random summon game. Spend RP to get a loyal summon partner. One turn costs 50 RP. Lloyd scoffs. He's only got 1 RP left after the skill scan. Not even close. But that's fine. He already has a plan for the moneylenders. And now it's time to execute. He goes back to the Baron's office where Meatloaf and Shiloh are still raging, and drops a legal bomb. The Royal Family and Nobility Act. Article 3. Clause 6. All nobles may exercise their right to protect their interests as vassals of the king. Entry into the residence of a noble family without a warrant is considered trespassing. That's the key section. The moneylenders lose it. What are you talking about? I've never even heard of such a law. Lloyd grins. Oh, you didn't know? Then let's go find out together, he yells. Javier. The silver-haired knight steps through the doorway, hand on his sword, and Lloyd delivers the line with the coldest smirk cut off this trespasser's arm. Javier draws his blade. The moneylenders are scrambling on the floor, screaming, What? We're going to sue. Lloyd just smiles like I said, let's go find out. Whose side the judge will take. Javier's sword flashes. The moneylenders are on the ground, terrified. Do you think you'll be able to get away with this? You'll regret this. But they're already crawling toward the door. After they're gone, the Baron confronts Lloyd. What did you just do? We don't have enough to stave them off. But Lloyd drops a bag of money on the desk with a heavy clank. I was planning to give it to you after I collected all of the money from the orders. But this should be enough to cover a big part of this month's interest. The Baron can't believe it, money from the orders? You're taking money from our people. Extorting money from them like this. And that's when Javier steps in. Fear not, my lord. He backs Lloyd's play, recites the same law. Article 3, Clause 6, explains that because of it, even if the moneylenders sue, any judge would side with them. Javier tells the Baron that knowing the contents of that law is a huge advantage. Lloyd thinks to himself, knowing the content of this story is a huge plus, because of course it is. He read the entire novel. He knows every law, every loophole, every plot point. Then the system notification drops. Baron Frontera's approval rating increased by 6 points. And right after you earned 60 RP for improving your relationship with a key character, current RP, 61. Lloyd's eyes light up. Just as planned. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more amazing manhwa recaps, and I'll see you in the next one.